Welcome to Skater Stories, where we are asking members of our skate community to share their story of why they started roller skating to inspire others. I'm Mel, owner of Roller Girl Gang and passionate roller skater. Today's story is being shared by Ree. Thank you, Ree, for being so open with your story.
Oh, delightful. Recording is going. I will never get used to that voice.
It's a bit weird.
So this evening, I am joined by the lovely Ree. And I love that on your name it says Ree Rah Rah. Rah, rah, rah. And we met, I think it was one of the lockdowns.
Yeah, was it like lockdown 2, maybe?
Maybe number 2. Yeah. I think it probably was, wasn't it, in 2021?
Yeah.
Oh, the heady days of lockdown. I know, it does, doesn't it? and I'm so happy that you're skating and still skating. That was completely the intention, and how you're still enjoying it. But I'm going to hand right over to you to introduce yourself and share your story.
Cool. Well, I started skating because I saw an advert on Facebook for some really, really shiny skates. The brand I'm not going to mention because they're not a very good brand, but I didn't know that at the time, and I just went and like, oh, these look fun. And we were in lockdown and everyone got a bit impulsive and decided to do stuff that would bring us joy rather than just, you know, sitting around being sad. So yeah, I bought a pair of roller skates and then just couldn't stop, it turned out. But I think the real turning point, the point where it was suddenly like, this is a thing that isn't just, oh, it's a bit of a laugh, I might go out once a week and pot around the park, haha, was suddenly finding all this community around it and joining and getting really involved in all of that. And the My Roller Skate Journey little WhatsApp group and the little boxes, the challenge boxes, was a really big deal for me because it gave me like goals each month to work towards with skating. What sort of thing would you like to know about?
Well, so thank you for not mentioning any names, but at the same time, don't beat yourself up, because when you're starting out, you can't know what you don't know.
No, and the first pair of skates I could possibly have bought, but they're very pretty.
I feel that there are worse pairs out there in terms of how things are made, and some skates are designed less for roller skating. That might sound really ridiculous, and I think they're designed more for just very occasional pootling.
Yeah, I thought that's what I was going to do. I thought I was going to do some occasional pootling and a bit of like, maybe a bit of dancing, because I'd seen people on the internet doing a bit of dancing, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then the more I looked into it, there was all these people going to the skate park, and I was like, that's totally bonkers. Why would anyone do that? Like, you can't do that on roller skates. That's crazy talk. And obviously now I completely adore the skate park.
And then you went. So when did your curiosity kind of overtake you, and were you scared?
Oh, I was terrified. But I've always been slightly inclined to do really foolhardy things. Like I used to mountain bike and climb and mountain board and chuck myself off high things into bodies of water. So it was kind of inevitable, really, that I'd end up in the skate park. I don't know why I thought I wouldn't. Everyone was like, well, obviously, when I started. And where I am in Todmorden, they've redone it now, and we've got a nice skate park now. But when I was first starting, basically we had like some tiny wooden flat banks and some really rusty ramps, and none of it lined up. It was all like just literally falling apart, and you couldn't roll down one thing and hit another because they're all like weird angles. And I didn't know that wasn't normal. I was just like, oh, this is what skate parks are. No wonder I was terrified. But I remember the first time I decided to roll down this tiny little like flat bank, and it was just, I mean, it was maybe like this high. It was the smallest thing, but in my head it was like a mountain. I was like, I am going to die. It's going to be the end for me. And my friend Claire was there, and she was like, if you do it, I'll do it. And I was like, oh, fine, okay, now we're egging each other on. And I stood at the end of this little tiny, and it seems so funny now because obviously I've dropped in at like 6-foot bowls and stuff, and this little tiny flat roll was like the littlest thing you've ever seen. And I stood at it for about 10 minutes going, don't know about this. And then finally rolled down it, and it was the most fun thing. And then after that, I decided I'd pop over to Hebden Bridge, which has a proper skate park, and I was like, I'll go really early in the morning when there aren't people there, and I'll try and use like a little mini and go back and forth and back and forth. And there's footage for the very first time I did that where I think I'm going like maybe 2 inches up the transition, but I'm so happy and I was so pleased with myself. And like every time after that I went and did something, I was getting a little bit higher and it was getting a little bit less scary. Obviously every new thing you try is a little bit scary again. So like every time you go on something a little bit higher, you're like, woo. But
yeah.
But every time
are you a screamer as well? Do you like laugh out loud?
Yeah, scream, shout, swear. Yeah, give myself moral support. I'm a big talker to myself. I'll be like, right, Ree, we're going down this, you can do this. There's been a lot of every ascending drop-in, there's been a lot of me standing at the edge of something going, all drop-ins are the same. All drop-ins are the same. You're just going to do this because all drop-ins are the same. Anyone walking past, like when I'm waiting to do it, is just going to think I've lost my mind. They're just going to be like, why is that person just stood there talking to themselves at the edge of this thing? Yeah, it's definitely got less scary, but also not less scary exactly. Like each thing gets less scary, but there's always something new you can scare yourself with, if that makes sense.
Yes, if you enjoy that. So it's kind of like the thrill has gone up as the fear has gone down. That kind of balance.
More that you're always a little bit scared. I think there's always going to be that little bit of scare, fear, whatever you're doing, because there's always that slight risk that you might really balk it. But bear in mind, today I went and ran down a ramp to try and remember what it felt like to drop in, and running down the ramp, and I've skinned both my knees and not on skates. So your skill. But I think what happened is after a little while, just it's not that you're not afraid, it's just that the pleasure you get from achieving something outweighs the fear, and the fact that you know that you're going to be so happy when you've done the scary thing. And every new trick you get, every new drop-in you get, every new obstacle you learn to do is just a little bit of a moment where you can go, I have done this, I am so proud of myself. Like things that you don't really imagine yourself doing. Like I'm 40, so you don't really imagine yourself like thinking, oh, this is a good idea at 40. And it just, you imagine doing it when you're 15. So to be able to do it as a grown-up feels almost like you've just got that extra level of, yes, I've achieved this thing. I could do what teenagers do.
Yeah, extra level of badassery. You've got it. You've absolutely crushed it. I think I've been really lucky to be able to sort of cheer everybody on in the little group that we've created, we've created, and it's just
so proud of everyone. So
I love that we're still in touch and still part of each other's lives,
and sharing all these wins as well. Like just with Shelley, who's like fighting to have a skate park sorted out in Selby now, and Jack, who's getting super amazing at dance skating. And I was talking to Amy at the disco, and they're like persevering with roller derby even though they're finding it super challenging, and they're like, no, but I'm going to do it. And I love seeing that for everyone. I love it.
Yeah, it's completely brilliant. So what is your favorite skate park trick?
Oh, I like a little sidey toe stall. I don't know what it's actually called. Like, I mean, it's like you just jump on your toe stops, but you kind of turn at like an angle, like not
so like your heels kind of flick up and back.
A flippy thing. I love that. And I also love what I call a kicky kapow, which is almost certainly not its real name, which is either like a toe-stop stall or a one-footed plate stall, and you just kick your other leg in the air, and it just looks really cool. Probably not called a kicky kapow, it probably has its own name. But I just love toe-stop stuff. I know it's like everyone's like, oh, I've got to get on to do all the plate stalls and stuff. And I remember really wanting to achieve that, but actually there's so much fun stuff you can do playing in the transition on your toes. I just find that really pleasing.
Yeah, totally. And like you're kind of lower down, so you can work your way up.
Yes, I think that's the other thing. It's just like, am I going to do something stupid? I'll start by learning it on my toe stops. But yeah.
Completely.
And then learning to referee at roller derby now as well. So that's a whole new thing that I didn't ever expect to be doing. So a whole other set of skate skills. So
yeah, some high level technical skating though for roller derby, especially
definitely, yeah. And it's just having to learn all of the
rules.
codes and the penalties. I'm just like, when I was playing, I swear I didn't know half of this stuff, and now I'm just there going, oh, I think that was a high block, and doing all these weird gestures, and everyone's just like, what are you doing? I'm just like, forearms. Like learning all the codes, learning all the rules. I don't know all the pack definition stuff is still completely blowing my mind. I just spent a lot of my time going, is the engagement zone now there? No, that skate has moved in. So actually the engagement zone's moved out, and it's just, yeah, getting all that stuff is a challenge, but it's really interesting.
Yeah, it is. It definitely will keep your mind sharp and your feet fresh, I think, because you've just got to be watching that whole time. And I think, thank goodness, the jams are so short, because having to concentrate for longer than that, it would just be so easy to miss something.
I didn't mean to end up doing roller derby either. It was an accident. It was 2 hours a week. I could go and learn to skate somewhere dry, and then it sucks you in. Next thing you know, you're like, oh, can I hit people with my butt? I can.
And it's really satisfying.
Really, really pleasing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to when I'm less injured and can actually play again, but and go back to the skate park properly. It was roller dance that did it, done it, all the things. The thing I said, originally I was like, oh, that's the thing I'm going to learn, and then it wasn't the thing I ended up learning, but it's the thing that ended up doing me, and so I started learning. I did the Hez really badly.
Oh no!
I don't know how do you. Yeah, right. I twisted my leg at a weird angle. It went, and I'm just like, for crying out loud, the Hez. Of all the stupid things I do, and the Hez took me out.
I think it's probably the unexpectedness of, well, this should be okay because I can already do all of these things, so this thing will probably be okay. But yeah, sometimes you'll just say to yourself, oh, I'll just do it this time, one last time.
Never say one last time.
No, so my rule to myself is always, there is no one last time, we just stop.
Yeah, we used to have that for mountain biking as well. You never did one last run. If you say, oh, I'll just do this one more time, that's where it goes wrong.
It all goes a bit pear-shaped, doesn't it?
So
have you skated in a few different skate parks now?
Yeah. Which ones have I been to? So I did go to Greystone the most. Love Greystone.
Yes.
Just got the perfect mix of like sizes and a good cafe. I sound like I'm their personal advertiser now, but have a good coffee and a bit of cake after you skate.
Very important.
Projects in Manchester and Ellis-Town in Leeds and House in Sheffield, which I adore because it's just lovely. It's proper little. We built this from the ground up, and it's got the mini ramp for learning.
Yes, the curb-sized one.
Yeah, where you can just be like, cool, I'm going to do like all these crazy tricks on this because it's real small. And it builds your confidence, and you can just do like the next size up and the next size up. And a bunch of outdoor ones. Still love Micklefield. That's great. It's got the first time I jumped 2 stairs was at Micklefield, and it took me like, I don't know, 5-6 goes of just running up to them and then just stopping in front of them and going, absolutely not, before I did it. But yeah, that was one of my favourite moments.
Oh no, that's awesome. So if somebody was, in terms of advice for new people, like if you're going to a new skate park and you get there and you think, right, well, I know I can drop in a 6-foot ramp. Would you approach a new skate park in the same way as your regular one, or would you approach it in a different way?
So if I'm going to go to a brand new skate park, I probably do just go and drop in on stuff, but what you should do is not what I do, because I'm an idiot. And this is why I'm injured, is actually, no, go and feel stuff out. If you've got like a new mini or a new bowl, like I say, take no shame and just like do a little knee shuffle in, like getting a feel of how the transition feels, like getting used to how a floor feels, because a concrete skate park feels completely different from a wooden skate park. Wood forever.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah, wood every time. Concrete is just little bit. It's not that it feels that much worse, but it's just, I guess, a little bit more intimidating, isn't it? It's just like, oh, this is very hard. But yeah, it's just like making sure that you've got the right wheels on, like, you know, if you've bought a couple of sets of wheels with you, making sure you've got the right set on for the material you're skating on. Just go and feel stuff out a little bit. Do what I say, not what I do.
Solid advice there, Ree. Thank you very much. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope that you heal strong.
Totally will.
And fast, and we can get back out on those wheels soon. But we've actually run out of time.
That's because I've been waffling on, isn't it?
But it's so interesting. It's so interesting. I think people could definitely learn a lot more. So we will send them to your Instagram if you're happy to share it. And
yeah, absolutely.
they can follow your journey and get those people inspired and get out there and get skating.
Yeah, skating changes your life.
Thank you for listening to today's skate story. I hope you find it as inspiring and uplifting as I did. Can't wait for the next one.